In the 17th century, New Englanders' greatest fear was of the devil. They thought that someone possessed by Old Nick was responsible for all the natural disasters. They assigned blame to a member of the community, typically an eccentric elderly person, if their crops failed, a cow went dry, or an outbreak occurred. In 1638, William and Eunice Cole traveled from London, England, to New Hampshire as indentured servants. They joined a brand new colony that was being founded in Exeter under the direction of the Reverend John Wheelwright. The Cole family made the decision to relocate to Hampton around 1640. Wheelwright relocated from Exeter to Wells, Maine, but after being ejected, he attempted to seize control of Hampton. The leader they had previously deserted now held control over the Coles again. Hampton residents have been worrying and speculating about their neighbor Goodwife Eunice Cole for years. Her neighbors took her to court at least 3 times for behavior that was thought to be indicative of witchcraft, or as it was known, intimacy with the devil. Although the Coles were old and needed assistance, they owned 40 acres of highly desirable salt marshland. Perhaps that was the start of Goody's issues. She was portrayed as an aloof character since she fought for her rights when there were none for women. Children from the neighborhood reported seeing her transform into an eagle, a dog, and a cat. They claimed to have observed the devil, dressed as a black dwarf with a crimson cap, seated at her dining room table. According to a man whose cattle had consumed grass on Goody's farm, she had cursed them. He lost one of his calves, then another vanished. She was held accountable for losing a fishing boat that had everyone on board. The villagers believed Goody was guilty. After hearing the testimony, the county court gave her a life sentence. At the time, she was 64 years old. Goody Cole spent most of her final 20 years locked up in a desolate, chilly Boston jail cell after being declared the Witch of Hampton in 1656. When her husband William, who was then 88 years old, protested that he needed his wife's assistance to manage his affairs, the court liquidated his farm and used the proceeds to settle his obligations. Eunice Cole repeatedly requested her release from custody so she could return home and care for her husband. After 15 years, she was finally given permission to return to Hampton in 1671, where she discovered that her husband had passed away. The Hampton town received a charge from the Boston court for the price of her inmate board. Goody's old jailer took one of the selectmen into custody when the municipality stopped making payments after 2 years. According to the town fathers, the Hampton residents who despised and frightened her were required to pay for her care. A different family was expected to provide her with food and firewood each week, or they had to pay the equivalent of 4 shillings. According to Joseph Dow's History of Hampton, the food remained untouched at her door, and the smoke ceased pouring from her chimney one day. At 88, Eunice Cole passed away alone in a little cabin on Rand's Hill in Hampton. It is uncertain exactly where she was interred. Goodwife Cole is mentioned in every area's history, but John Greenleaf Whittier gave her literary immortality in 1864 with his poems The Changeling and Wreck of the Rivermouth. In those passages, Goody turns a child into a monster and sets off with a shipwreck that killed 8 people from Hampton. A Hampton resident said that he experienced only terrible luck ever since constructing his home on the location of the Coles cottage in 1908. He was confident that Goody Cole's ghost still cursed the location. He added that he was pretty anxious about the possibility that she would be interred on his property. In 1938, when Hampton commemorated its tercentenary, a society was established to make right for the wrongs committed against her. The Society in Hampton for the Apprehension of Individuals falsely accusing Eunice Goody Cole of having familiarity with the devil was the organization's name. Eunice Cole was formally cleared of all accusations of witchcraft during a ceremony performed in her honor. Her trial's copies were destroyed as an act of repentance. To serve as a memory of this tragic incident, the ashes were combined with dirt from the former Cole farm and kept in an urn at the Tuck Museum. Residents in Hampton have reported seeing an enigmatic old woman walking the streets over the years. A police officer once cautioned an elderly woman wearing a shawl when walking on Hampton's busy highways. She responded, "I'll get along all fine. I've been strolling down these streets for centuries." Later, he understood she wasn't your typical nomad. The city built a sizable erosion stone outside the Tuck Museum, located on what is thought to be the location of Goody and William Cole's property in 1963. This was all for today. I hope you liked the video. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Stay safe, and we will be right back soon with another video. For more information, subscribe and watch other videos from our channel.